We start here on the national front today with a number of critical decisions by the central bank. Now, BOK officials have decided to keep their interest rate frozen while raising their growth forecast for the local economy this year. Our correspondent Kim Do-yeon has details.
The Bank of Korea announced a continued rate freeze of the country's base interest rate on Thursday morning after cutting the rate by 25 basis points in May and holding it steady in July. The rate freeze was made as concerns remain over surging house prices and rising household debt. After the decision, the interest rate gap between South Korea and the U.S. stayed at around 2 percentage points, as the Federal Reserve also kept rates unchanged in late July, citing inflation concerns amid uncertainty from U.S. tariffs. On the same day, the Bank of Korea modestly increased its 2025 GDP growth forecast to 0.9%. The forecast is 0.1 of a percentage point higher than its 0.8% growth rate projection in May. This is the first time the central bank has raised its growth forecast for the year after having continuously lowered it since November 2023. The bank explained that the upward revision was driven by stronger consumption and solid export gains, even as construction investment remained weaker than expected. In its outlook, the BOK forecasts the country's quarterly growth at -0.2% for the first quarter, 0.6% for the second, 1.1% for the third, and 0.2% for the fourth. Although the institution projected a higher growth rate, the looming risks from U.S. tariffs still lie ahead. Despite reducing the level of uncertainties after South Korea and the U.S. negotiated the rates at 15% on July 30th, the overall economic impact could come later. According to the BOK report on the impact of South Korea's economy, which was released the same day, U.S. tariffs could cut 0.45 percentage points off GDP growth in 2025 and 0.6 percentage points in 2026 compared to a scenario where there were no tariffs. The report also noted that South Korea's high dependence on U.S. exports makes the country particularly vulnerable to the U.S. tariffs. It said while initial impacts have been muted by delays in cost absorption by firms, economic conditions could get worse, with global manufacturing orders already contracting. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.